Hello, Eric Michael here. Welcome back to another chapter of The Stars Above. I know you're probably thinking, what does he mean? Another chapter. This is the last chapter. Perhaps. But as you can see, dawn is about to break on a new day, a new light to start once more and make things right. And you see, I don't believe that Icarus would want me to say, welcome to the last chapter of The Stars Above. Because is it? Does life have a last chapter? Perhaps. Do books have a last chapter? Perhaps. I don't think he believes stories have a last chapter. I believe he thinks stories just go. Stories just go and go and go. They just keep going. And that is why I will not say welcome to the last chapter of The Stars Above. I will say welcome to another chapter of The Stars Above. A most beautiful chapter. A most beautiful chapter that I reserved for a very beautiful sunrise. I was very responsible going about it today. I set my alarm for 4:30 a.m. And I don't do that. I don't really see sunrises often. I am kind of in the boat of seen one, seen them all. But I know that I shouldn't be. I know that I should cherish more sunrises, because you never know when your last sunrise may be. But I have a hard enough time sleeping as it is. Insomnia, stuff. So I enjoy my sleep, but not today. Not today. Today is too special to enjoy my sleep. So I woke up bright and early. We, smug ass bitch, woke up bright and early so that we could set up our little tripod towards the nightingales and have a beautiful sunrise with y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. I must say I'm so excited. I'm so energized. I'm so enthused. I'm so bewildered. I'm so enthralled. I'm so rejuvenated. I'm full of spiritual vitality. I'm full of spiritual prosperity. Not only am I content, dare I say, I do believe I'm feeling happiness. And I am relishing in it. I'm relishing in that happiness. Because I have felt many things over the past 30 days and 30 nights on this pilgrimage, on this spiritual voyage into the vastness beyond, into the great unknown. I have felt many things. I have felt such sorrow. I have felt such woefulness. I have felt such remorse, such unrelenting remorse, such sadness, such regret. But do you know what? Do you know what? As much as I've allowed myself to feel such things, I have transmuted them. I have transmuted them. I have set up my little emotional laboratory. My little emotional laboratory with all my science things. My colanders and beakers and burners and stuff you put in them. Different things you put in them. Most scientists would put in chemicals. They put in chemicals into their little cauldrons, their little beakers, their little burners, their little science stuff. But do you know what? Do you know what? I don't have any science stuff to put in my cauldrons, my beakers, my stove boiler, glass, whatever all of them are called. I'm not a scientist. I used to be a scientist. I discovered the lost city of Atlantis. And from that point on, I was a scientist. But truth be told, I'm not a scientist. I'm not. Just as I'm not an alchemist of science liquids. I simply am not. Do you want to know what I put into my beakers? What I put into my colanders, my cauldrons? What I turned the flame on the stove, it burned the stuff in the cauldrons and the beakers and the cylinders and the whatever all those things are called? Whatever the scientists call those things. Do you know what I put in those things? I put in my woefulness. I put in my sadness. I put in my sorrow. I put in my unrelenting remorse and regret. I put in all those things and more. All of those difficult things in life. And do you know what I did? I casted spells onto them. I said, you shan't be sorrow. You shan't be woefulness. You shan't be sadness. You shan't be remorse. You shan't no longer be regret. You should be forgiveness, hopefulness, joyfulness, happiness. Laughter, forgiveness, unconditional love. No, I'm not a scientist. I was once a man of science. But truth be told, I am a man of spiritual vitality, prosperity, rejuvenation. And so with all of those things in the cauldrons and all of that, what be it, what not, what have you, I found contentment. It cooked, all of that stuff cooked. And I transmutationed it into contentment. And it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful I could cry. Perhaps the only thing missing in the cauldrons and the beakers and the colanders is my tears. Perhaps that is the only ingredient missing. But it is not yet time to cry. Because I have to read a chapter from a beautiful story. A beautiful story. A beautiful, never-ending story. So that is what I'm here to do. That is why I've woken up at 4:30 in the morning. As hard as it was, I said, I don't want to wake up. Snooze. Snooze on my alarm. But as soon as I hit snooze, I knew. No snoozing. Because snooze on the alarm is a gateway drug. It's a gateway drug. Snooze on the alarm turns to 2 snoozes, 3 snoozes, 4 snoozes. All of a sudden, you are slamming heroin. That's how fast it goes from snoozing to slamming heroin. I shan't. That is a trait of a junkie. And I'm no junkie. No siree, Bob. I am just a humble clown who also happened to at one point in his life be a scientist. And I think that a lot of people, those 2 career choices are on entirely different ends of the spectrum. But sometimes we have to venture to the other ends of the spectrum to truly discover who we are. So I have no regrets. I have no regrets about venturing to each end of the spectrum, because now I am found whole in the middle. In the middle. I am traversing 2 lines. Balance. Balance. Contentment. Spiritual vitality. Spiritual prosperity. Rejuvenation. I know that it is about this time that I would get into today's sponsors. Today doesn't need any sponsors. What today needs is to express endless appreciation, undying appreciation, unconditional appreciation. I have so much appreciation in me that I do not know what to do with it. I know that my phone has 250 gigabytes of space. I think that if I made a video solely on my undying, endless, unrelenting, unconditional appreciation, it would take up 200,000 gigabytes. My phone simply does not have that much space on it. There's nothing I can do to change that. There's nothing I can do to change that. I do not know if in my lifetime there will come out a phone that has as many gigabytes necessary to make that kind of video. So I'm not sure if I will ever be able to make that kind of video in my lifetime. But I will start with the simple things that I can. I have endless, undying appreciation for the Paiute people, for the Paiute reservation, the Paiute tribe. I have endless appreciation for Pyramid Lake, for these hallowed grounds, these sacred, holy grounds. For the Lake Mother and all her inhabitants. I hear that there's really big trout. I hear there's really big trout in there. That's why so many fishermen come here. They come for the big trout. I don't much care for the trout, but I have communed with the water babies. They are not malevolent. For anyone out there who is afraid of Pyramid Lake because they are afraid of malevolent water babies, you are incorrect. If you are one of those people, you likely came here and you threw Budweiser cans into the bushes. That's why you believe that they're malevolent. And if you escaped with your life and the anaconda did not get you, you're lucky. You have lucked out. But perhaps give this place another try. You will see that the creatures are benevolent. I have endless appreciation for the bobcat, for the war crow, the mother crow, the three young. Do you know how remarkable it is that 6, 7 years ago, what have you, Icarus came here to tell a beautiful story. He began a beautiful story here. And as he was telling this beautiful story, he noticed a war crow and a mother crow raising their three young. Do you know how remarkable it is that I begin my pilgrimage out here? I begin my spiritual voyage. And that same thing is occurring. That they have new offspring that they are raising so that they may take flight to become the sentinels of this sacred land. Do you know how amazing that is? I am without words. I am quite literally without words. That the very same thing happened to me. I am so blessed. And I have watched as they grow. When I got here, they were just these tiny little hatchlings. They were just these tiny little hatchlings with little red heads. They almost look like roosters or something, like little baby roosters. And now, they have grown so much. I do not know the lifespan of a crow. I'm not a scientist anymore. But I know that they are flapping their wings. I do not know how long it takes to go from a hatchling to flying. But they no longer look like little red roosters. They have feathers. They are black like the night. And they are flapping their wings. Their caws have deepened. No longer is it ka 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 ka. It's caw caw. Their caws have deepened. Soon they will spread their wings and take flight into the vastness beyond. Yes, I have endless appreciation. I got a little sidetracked. The lizard community welcomed me in with open arms. I have endless appreciation for the lizard community. I never got that close with the Bronchiosaurus because every time that I approach the Bronchiosaurus, they just flee. They flee. They're such gentle, timid creatures. Likely because of the velociraptors. But I was only here to protect them from the velociraptors. But I know that they're little timid creatures, so I let them be. I have endless appreciation for them nonetheless. I have an endless appreciation for the people who come here and respect the land. For the people who come here and know that this is sacred. This place is sacred. I met so many wonderful people who came here for the same reasons I did. They drove down, they said, "What are you doing, buddy?" And I said, "I'm telling a beautiful story because this is the most sacred place in the whole wide world." And they said, "You think that this is the most sacred place in the whole wide world? What about the Great Pyramids of Egypt? What about the vortexes of Sedona? What about there's so many other places in the world. Give me a moment to think about something." What about Niagara Falls? That's a marvel. Yes, perhaps, but it's not the most sacred place in the whole wide world to me. And they said, "I agree." Because that's why I drove down this dirt road. Because this is also the most sacred place in the whole wide world to me. So I have endless appreciation for the people who came and shared in on wonderful conversation with me. But I also have endless appreciation for my isolation. Because those visits were few and far between. And their durations were short. Likely because those visitors who came down and shared in on a wonderful conversation with me recognized that something was brewing. I was an alchemist in his emotional laboratory, and I needed peace and tranquility. I needed isolation, solitude. Real recognize real. Yes, I have endless appreciation. I even have endless appreciation for these gnats, these goddamn rat bastards. I hate them. I hate them, but I have learned to appreciate them. My vehicle has about 100,000 million gnats in it. Many of them are dead. And I will have to, at some point, clean them out of my vehicle. But I'm okay with that. I will say a little prayer. I will say a little prayer for the dead gnats as I vacuum them out of my vehicle. And they spend the remainder of their life in a vacuum bag, their dead life. I have endless appreciation for everything here. But I suppose I should have the most endless appreciation for the people who have been with me on this journey. The viewers who have braved their fears, they have faced their fears. They have come along for this adventurous, heroic, fantastical quest. They have faced trauma. They have overcome trauma. They have allowed their love to triumph over trauma. Perhaps there are people who watched who didn't even have trauma, but that they still understood. They still sympathized. They still empathized. And it broadened their horizon on what people go through under the umbrella of trauma. They now know how to lend more empathy. They want to lend an open ear to those who so desperately need to voice their trauma and grow through it. What a beautiful thing. We need more people willing to lend an open ear and have an open heart. We shan't turn a blind eye and deaf ear to the people who need to voice what is inside of them. That is how we will become a people of more spiritual prosperity, spiritual vitality, rejuvenation, understanding. So while I don't have any fucking clue who's watching this, perhaps there's one people, perhaps there's two people, perhaps there's three people, perhaps there's many more people. I don't know. I don't have any idea. I'm just a man out in the desolation of the desert. I don't even use that much technology. I don't even use that much social media. I haven't used social media in years. I don't have a TikTok. I don't know how to edit things. That's why everything has been in one single long cut. Even when I fumble over my words, I said, fuck it. Fuck it. It's already recording. I have to just continue. I have to power through. I don't know about all this stuff. Perhaps someone will help me learn about this stuff so that I may share it with those who need it. That's neither here nor there. The point is, I don't know who's watching this, but whoever is, I hope that this story has helped you in some way. I hope that you have found it beautiful, even when it is tragic. I hope that you have found peace in chaos. I hope that you have found love and forgiveness, whether for another or for yourself. I hope that perhaps one day we can share a cup of tea together. Perhaps even here at this most sacred place, we'll have a tea party. I enjoy coffee more than tea. We'll have a coffee party. You can bring tea if you would like. I'll drink the tea, but I prefer coffee. I think it would be a most marvelous thing to have a big tea coffee party with everyone who may have appreciated this story. I want to hear your story. I want to hear your story. When we have this tea coffee party, I want everyone to share their stories, because everyone's story is beautiful. Everyone has a beautiful story. Everyone has experienced life. And within life has so many stories. So many remarkable tales. So much growth. So much adventure. So much heroism. I want to hear your story. I have endless appreciation for so many things. But for those who have joined me on this journey, this quest, this voyage, this pilgrimage, I cannot express enough of the endless appreciation I have for you. It has been so remarkable. And as I said, as I casted that spell into the great night sky, bestow upon thee thy strength, so I shan't be sad. I did that because I knew as this leg of the journey concluded, I did not want to be sad. I wanted to stand before this 200 gigabyte camera that does not have nearly enough space to contain all of my endless appreciation. I wanted to stand before this 250 gigabyte camera with a smile on my face, ear to fucking ear, as we wrap up this leg of the journey. And I wanted to be so happy as I read another chapter of The Stars Above to the beautiful breaking dawn. And that's what I'm doing. I feel like I could go on for so long, expressing different things. Maybe there will be another video of just expressing things. Because at some point I do need to read from the book. I do need to read another chapter of the story. Now that the sun has blessed us with his good graces, I am now able to read because I can see the page. When it is a little darker, the Crayon Écran is not as legible. Yes, I do believe it's time for another chapter of The Stars Above. I can't see them because it's daylight, but they are there. Believe you me, they are there. Perhaps the Lake Mother will bless me with good reading on this chapter. Many times over the course of this voyage, I have gone down to her shores and I have said, please speak through me. My brain does not always work good. Please help me read. Please help me say things not so jumble, not so jambalaya. And I do believe I've gotten better. I do believe that she has helped me tremendously. And perhaps this reading we will not make a single mistake. But even mistakes, as Bob Ross says, a happy mistake. A happy little mistake. I think of them as happy little detours. Perhaps we'll take a happy little detour. I'm getting lost again in thought. I do believe it is time we begin. Chapter 33. Home again. Home again. A troubled man walks many paths in life, but if found righteous, only one is kept upon, that of redemption. He treads with care, knowing he shan't deflect, neglect, nor project, but attest and accept. Each step is made in humility, accounting for the sins of past, having understood it isn't a road he will ever find the end of, but must traverse nonetheless. In embodying nobility, he discovers truth within and honesty spoken with conviction. No matter what lay behind, his path forward remains just, like an arrow cuts the wind. Elusive awareness finds clarity as fog of the mind is vanquished. Where fear once held dominion over his heart, courage strikes with each beat. A humble yet solitary path, for what makes a great and virtuous man isn't that which has been accomplished for himself, but the love he holds for those he stepped upon that path for. The sun rises as light curls over the distant nightingales, painting the sky in warm pastels which spread like fire across the lake, as if opening gates to another world. I've slept well, aside from last night's coyote quarrel. The shrieking howls of an animal dying to the hands of several others shot me awake, startled enough to reach for my knife, only to take arms with a banana. I'll never get over that porcelain prick's same old tricks. There's nothing like a gritty pot of cowboy coffee as the desert welcomes a new day. It's that last sip which satisfies, once catching a mouthful of chalky dirt and grounds to savor like a lip of chew. The dopamine rush is comparable to I fumbled. Silly fumbling. The dopamine rush is comparable to gumming cheap, stepped-on blow bought off the hipster swindling bassist of a pop-punk band, squeezed between the bathroom stall of Shay's Tavern as he snickers. Stay gold, pony boy. My dearest Reno, please, don't ever change. The war crow is perched atop Monument Rock. The reach of his gaze is boundless as he appreciates the stillness of dawn engulfing his home. I know, for his eyes are my own. Caw, caw, caw! The young call for their mother. I've been watching as they grow. Soon the time will come for them to spread their wings and leave the nest, to take that terrifying leap of faith into the unknown and trust they'll catch wind, to become that which they were destined, a sentinel of this land. I can see one of the triplets has begun flapping in determination. It wants to fly. Its day draws near. Look here, bird, I call out. You'll be on your way up. You'll be seeing great sights. You'll join the high flyers who soar to high heights. It's doubtful that little crow has read, "Oh, the places you'll go," so I'm likely perceived as being very clever and original. My wilderness go-to for breakfast is a burnt buster. While a delicate process, any girthy sausage will do. A strong fire is needed, preferably from logs chopped yourself, having taken hard work. After the roast begins and temptation kicks in, one must account for a lifetime of patience developed out of hardship. Many desire instant gratification, but to pleasure fix is a debilitating eagerness of our primal nature. The dog's been cooking for a few minutes. It's got to be done, right? Wrong. The pressure will build as it screams for release, and only once believed that the dog suffered enough is it halfway done, because suffering is only ever half the battle. The skin of the dog will begin to char as flames reach deep into its center, In attempts to alleviate that agonizing pain, it forms a protective shell to prevent any more suffering. But this is futile. Fire has already penetrated the dog's core, and now the shell formed to protect it has done no less than trap agony within it. Once the dog is burnt to a crisp, comparable to how black our own soul once was, is when the beauty of its transformation takes place. The sausage has been under such grueling pain and pressure that it's reached a tipping point. Recognizing that by creating a shell, it's done nothing but work against itself. Now having achieved self-awareness, it decides to no longer resist the fact that suffering exists and, instead of fearing it, the dog finally accepts it. Once obtaining that sheer will, the time has come. Just as the butterfly breaks from the cocoon, or the bud blooms, the dog will burst the fuck open. One delicately rests their hard-earned dog between a bun while removing the spear used to impale it, that which caused the suffering to begin with. It's at this point that many reach for their favorite condiment, but the dog's worked tirelessly through pain and sacrifice to obtain this state. It doesn't need ketchup or mustard. The now impeccable dog is perfect just the way it is, was, and always will be. What a blessed feeling it is to be sitting upon these humbling shores in my tricolored beach chair, both spiritually cleansed and regrettably nourished with the help of an ultra-processed hot link. For in savoring this first bite, it's understood why suffering was necessary. Before Thea's departure from Reno, a photo book she'd made for me was left alongside the dragon painting for Celine. They were symbols of an undying love which steered our course true, and on every sojourn voyage to this shore, that book is sang aloud in unrelenting faith. All stories must begin somewhere, and so we found our start in the biggest little city in the world. Seems like an unlikely place to randomly meet, leaving the sense of home and history behind us in search of something meaningful, finding each other amidst buzzing casino lights and bustling traffic of disenfranchised souls. But magic would hold us to our core, bringing our light together in lasting love and appreciation. We found more than a dream in Reno. We found our destiny, our future. We weren't crawling pubs, dancing at the burn, or enjoying lazy summer nights on the riverfront. It wasn't luxury that found us enjoying the moments of our acquaintance. Instead, we were hard at work, trying to build our lives from the bottom up, pushing for our pennies, and gasping for air in the congestion of junk mayhem. Without a moment wasted, we became familiar, finding our bonds in threads which wove the past and future together into this amazing experience, one that we'd been crafting since the beginning of thought itself, a brilliant journey. And with divine precision, our paths began to unfold like the precious petals of a rose, held together by its thorny stem. Our lives have been hard. There was no easy road leading here. This magic required more of us, and the synergy of our proximity was earned through elemental trials. By earth, we walked blindly into canyons and sojourned into isolation in the folds of nature's breath. By air, we sang our song of chanting hope, our mantra of truth, the voice of serenity. By fire, we burned away the deception of our flesh, left raw in the ashes to rise anew. By water, we have wept those driest tears, those which cannot fall, but flow like a river within us. We found our place in the sun, and blessings of the moon. We were gifted with a glimpse of our destiny, just enough for our souls to recognize the significance of things to come, giving understanding towards our misgivings of the past. The universe makes no mistakes yet. When we walk alone, we're left to ponder why so many things went unfinished, words unspoken, love withheld, tears withdrawn. Sometimes it seemed like it would never end, our silent seclusion, but we caught sight of a shooting star, a passing beacon to our attention, drawing us in one at a time. We held to our instincts, and for such a magical occasion, we remained bewildered and mystified. We allowed the natural progression of our emerging awareness to foster the inner joy that came with knowing, not for we wanted to feel something, but had no choice. Truth has a way of feeling all its own. We'd been enchanted by it, shimmering in glory, reveling in the comfort of home. I thank the universe endlessly for our first year together, a reunion of archetypal soul connections, alive and growing. We'd been given something truly rare and more beautiful than eyes can behold. This gift is eternal, and as we receive such, it will always live within us. As we integrate our lives into this crazy world, we are ever more blessed by this gift. We are each born into a family that both nurtures and gives us a foundation. But what is a foundation without a building? And what better thing to build than a new family? That which created us, we now create. This is the future, and I have found my children. We were made for darkness, like the loveliest candles that burn a flowing flame. And so, we find ourselves at home, even now when dancing alone. We are dancing in each other's footsteps, and the song remains true love, the only song we remember. My beloved son, my Icarus Mikhail, dance with the demons, dance with angels, dance naked on a moonlit beach alone, but keep that heartbeat strong, singing our song in your soul with every step. The pages herein illustrate the love you've shined upon me and, in turn, this universe. They are that glimpse of what is truth and what the future holds for us. The deeper meaning is known without words, but here I have chosen my favorite photos, those moments I recall with overwhelming joy. Our paths may be diverted, but I promise you one thing. I will always hear your voice, and no matter how winding my wayward wind, I will always have one eye on you. I will love you until the time of beginning anew. You and Bird are the greatest gifts I have ever known. My love for you is boundless, having no understanding of time or space. We've lived in many places, and we'll try a few more on for size, though Pyramid Lake is our welcome home. You were the sentinel of this sacred land, the place of first light, where our shooting star fell. These grounds are our sanctuary, our shrine. You are charged as keeper, and rightfully so. You belong to this water, that which flows from the majestic mountain to your precious toes. My blessings blow across your shores here, where you will always find me. I am in the clay. Share this sacred space, my son, and use its energy to manifest your inner strength. There's a magic here that will continue to reveal itself to you and those in your care. A day will come when you surrender your long-withheld tears to this water. An ancient calling will be fulfilled, and a magic yet beyond comprehension will culminate. We may have to wait some while for her, those third and final tears to fall, but I wish to impart to you a premonition. These things will come to pass, and upon their completion, a new magic shall be born to us all. Time has a funny way of jesting with us, but all things come in their right time. In moments between, it's up to you to keep the little horses company and caw at the crow's instinct. Build an altar and surrender it to the lake. Build another and another. When you are filled with spice, rage at the wind. When you are soft, find rest to contemplate the clouds. When you are strong, move the stone and shape the land. When you are ready, surrender your tears. You are loved by coyote waves. Then there is playtime. Don't forget to treat yourself to a meaningless day every once in a while. Some of life's best moments are those never anticipated. Make sure that nonsense is a part of your plan. You were born to clown. Your charm and humored grace fill this world with beautiful smiles and heartfelt laughter. You mustn't be selfish. You're gifted with an ability to bring others cheer. Do so, even when you cannot find the sunshine on your lone, lovely face, for your resilience will only add to your magic. Lose yourself in the simple joys as you delight in the vision quests. Indulge in the finer things and live for the world. We need you. Take Monkey for a stroll. Give away balloons. It's hard at times. I can't count the kids who've run away screaming when I've tried. But above all else, invent. You're such a beautiful mind. Continue with your gifts. Make those treasure hunts. Weave your words into the universal song. Manifest that painfully blinding light and thrive in your ability to heal others. Your magic is unique, and this is the time to meet the highest of potentials. Sometimes it seems almost appropriate to apologize for how candidly you are the one. But this I cannot do, as you have known it all along. My son, manifest your destiny. It is our way. You are neither key nor lock. You're everything within them. You know it to be true. Look here if you forget. Life is quite the dramatic expression, but you are the scribe. Our legend depends on your awareness. May the unadulterated love of the universe shine upon the genius of your creative mind. Always. You're the wisdom in time which turns the lump of coal to diamond. Seek to find the love in all beings and offer some of your fine polish to the rough. Give your heart freely and emulate that source. It may be necessary for you to take a respite now and again. Use this time to heal yourself, fortify your being, and receive love from others. Don't forget to give those who care a reward for feeling it so deeply. Know that you are seen, even when invisible to yourself, by love. Bask in the glory of the sun, child. The balloons precede you, like the coins do for me, as signposts along the way. This you already know, but I revel in the simple cues. Knowing you is potent, like the first snowflake that lands on earth in winter. There are signs everywhere to denote the meaning, not just to me, but life itself. I celebrate this passing year while looking forward to our future adventures. Seize the moments of happiness, claim every second of their worth. Enjoy the simplicity of new experience, saying yes to that inner calling. Drink to celebrate, dance to shine, love to reconcile the great universal faith, and be you, for my life has meaning because of it. You've given me an endless smile. I admire and look up to you more than words could ever convey. The love in your heart is the most priceless thing in the universe. I thank my lucky stars, for you've made them lucky. I am the wind that blows warm from the east, and I am the dragonfly which hovers over your dream. I am the hummingbird chirping at your side, and I am the woman who claims you as mine. Icarus Mikhail, you are my divine son. Be it known and unforgotten. This blessing shall last eternally. It feels to have been a lifetime ago that I'd first met the isolation of this desert. But with sure sight over steady foot, I was lent safe passage through the fray, for we must learn to be alone if we're to be truly found. It's a steep price to pay, forfeiting one's role to become nothing and no one, while giving up everything that made you someone. A steep price, yet a fair trade in gaining the entirety of our world. As people, we tend to see the essence of our being as small, separating ourselves from a connection to nature, the universe, and those within it. But this ideology creates a prison of limitation within our subconscious. To break free from this is our liberating journey of self-discovery, where anything we seek to create already exists within the realms of pure potentiality. In this light, I am both a man rowing his boat over this vast lake, and I am the vast lake who carries the man rowing in his boat. At times it remains difficult to believe the beauty here, a desolate place so full of life. To discover appreciation for the desert is a representation of life itself. Just as we traverse a barren wasteland to cherish the forest spring, so must we suffer through pain to understand love. I've heard many things said about this lake over the years, from both natives and non. Tales of its legends and myths, hauntings and curses, powers and magic. There are people who fear this land for the same innate reason we tend to fear ourselves. It's vast, unknown, and riddled with mystery. But ideas that tend to leave us frightful are the very same which present doors to great wonders yet explored. I've heard the tales but hadn't cared to listen. To listen is to understand is to see, and to see is to feel that which lies within. I know what stories hold truth, for I can see as the sun rose dawning time with new light, just as I can feel that upon these sacred grounds I've been reborn. It's here the great flames rise, and fires of faith are eternally stoked. It's here foundations are laid, and offerings are made. It's here the world beyond man is seen, and each day lived is one to remember. It's here my family calls home, and paths cross and trials anew. It's here where purpose has been realized. So, it is here that purpose is fulfilled. Caw, caw, caw! The war crow cries. The wind carries his call, this land's ancient tongue, a song of serenity. Love found, love bound. High above he soars and circles, watching, waiting, in an unwavering glide. He peers far into days of the morrow and lifetimes hereafter, untethered to the past, present, or future, for his sight is pure of heart and his love for them, boundless to time or space between. Always he's remained, seeing as they've come to grow into that of which they've always known, a mother and daughter perched upon a selfless throne, their shooting star, at long last, home. Silly bird, I yell, from the perilous maw you've flown, time and time again to have shown, all of which I've always known. From that maw, mighty war crow, caw, caw, caw! At a time when everything appears forward yet feels backwards, and in a world which feels upside down yet appears right side up, I am the tear that trickles, the water that waves, the sand that shifts, the stone that sets, the tree that trembles, the leaf that lays, the cloud that covers, the sun that shines, and the moon that marvels. I am the caw of the crow, and I am the wind that whisks it back beneath his wing. Perhaps you're wondering how this story ends. I could say with a clown sitting in the world's largest sandbox, left to play with all his best toys, although that wouldn't be very climactic. A better question might be, does a story ever end? Characters pass, loves realized, evils perish, heroes triumph, chapters conclude, and pages cease to turn. But what is seen as the end of a story can be equally felt as its new beginning. A book may be bound to itself, but a story is bound to time, and time is eternal. Everyone's got a tale, whether they lived it, dreamt it, or created it. All that matters is how it's told. The beauty lay in the narrative. So, while I'd love to remain cryptic and mysterious, here's what went down in the epilogue, if having selected the more promising at first glance option A of this choose your own adventure. Celine drove off, but before my tears had a chance to fall and manifest into those arcane moments of divine revelation, she drifted back into sight and T-boned a sycamore tree. "Irk, you big stupid idiot!" she screamed, hopping from the car before it exploded. "I didn't mean it! We can make this work! I love you!" While surrounded by a raging inferno, we shared true love's first kiss. The hero felt joy in his heart like never before, but what sense he lacked at the time to realize was that it had become fleeting, for it was never about the kiss. Celine and I were happy for a while as our passion for one another remained electric. We saw the world's marvels, drove bitchin' cars, and shared in ripping good times. But something was missing, an itch we couldn't quite scratch. It was as if in obtaining each other's heart we'd lost sight of our own, forsaking the force which burned with the strength of 1,000 suns, having longed to fulfill a purpose. Our contentment felt together would turn to resentment, for in abandoning our individual paths while failing to embark on our own hero's journey, together we'd self-implode. What was supposed to have been a love story for the ages had only been masquerading as a drawn-out tragedy. The moral of that story would be something along the lines of, most people fall short in following their heart because doing so brings immense suffering. But it's only through immense suffering that we find what our hearts wished us to discover. It's rather simple. Our true love could never have triumphed over suffering, for the true love within ourselves had yet to be realized. It's an awesome moral, but why waste so much goddamn time trying to grasp it? It's never much fun to select the heartbreak of a tragic romance, but the lessons in those realities are profound. So, while a part of me wishes otherwise, this is what actually took place. Celine drove off. Tears fell, and I'd experienced those arcane moments of divine revelation, having spent the next 5 years trying to grasp its potency. To say I've truly come to understand all which Celine brought me to feel was, and is to this day, futile. The childish efforts of a worn-out mind reaching for secrets to the all-knowing, all-encompassing, universal infiniteness of love itself, absolute, unconditional, desireless, and non-fleeting. This concept just so happens to go by another familiar name, God. In finding Celine and Thea, I'd found myself. In finding myself, I'd found love. And in finding love, I'd found the presence of God. This isn't meant in a religious sense. It's referred to as many things across all walks of life. Divine spirit, source energy, Christ consciousness, and so on. They're all the same, just as all those holy figures of history spoke the same words. The kingdom of heaven is within you. There's no other teacher but your own soul. He who knows himself is enlightened. All minds are the Buddha mind. Semantics are a bore, but the point is simple. To be non-possessive and non-judgmental, with a heart of gratitude and love felt unconditionally, we discover the presence of our highest state. That feeling I'd longed for and eternally sought was always within me, having led to that alchemical crescendo of self-realization. We all carry this love and divinity whether we sense to feel its presence or not. It's ever-growing and ever-knowing, should we choose to recognize it in ourselves and others. This is the coveted secret of the Philosopher's Stone, a fabled relic of ancient wisdom, being elusive in its capture only to those who seek it, without having first traversed the arduous path to earn it, the magnum opus journey of self-discovery. When Celine looked back to meet my eyes for the last time, I'd understood what lay ahead and the eventualities to unfold, having known my entire life. There was a story to tell of which could help remind those who need it most that they have it within themselves to shape their hearts. Those seekers, misfits, hopers, and ex-dopers, fighters still fighting, dreamers still dreaming, creators still creating, and players still playing. To any and all who find themselves longing for the same things I had, love and forgiveness. It was once believed that story required the immeasurable pain of my mother's passing to finally bring pen to paper. I was lost, given memories of a girl I couldn't see, conviction towards a cause unfulfilled, and remnants of a boy yet known. But as wisdom in my isolation has grown, I've come to realize it was never pain which guided my hand. The purpose of our heart's path lay where boundless discovery awaits. My heart led me to find Celine so I could understand that purpose. And in watching her fly away to fulfill hers, she'd free me to fulfill mine. That moment shared between us was true love's triumphant victory over suffering, a tale so plainly written in the stars above. While going on to leave Reno, I've never left Celine, for a promise hasn't been broken. It simply remains to be fulfilled, whether to her, Thea, or myself. All oaths made have been kept. It isn't woeful to say I haven't seen or spoken to my bird since that day, for over these many years the love shared between Celine and Thea has grown, having been shown patience and given nurturing. The primordial Om was sung, and those misunderstandings which once kept them physically distant worked to strengthen their binding spiritually. A mother received her second chance with her daughter, and a daughter received her second chance with her mother. That sacred, boundless bond between them, alive and growing. My heart will always belong to the wind beneath Celine's wing, but solitude brings a certain state of peace, and the world feels differently now. Rain falls like gentle whispers, each drop a soft-spoken spell. Wind sings and carries gracefully, being ever persistent in its wishes to share a dance. Flowers illuminate a vibrance of ethereal nature, as if borrowing light from stars far beyond our sun. At dawn comes deliverance, while dusk unveils the delve, a divine shine that fades into the darkness of transcendental, moonlit nights. The world feels to be different now, for I'm no longer in it, but have become it. Having carried the pain of a past best forgotten, I'll never claim to have been a great man, but will live each day giving it an honest chance. There's no cloak hiding my sorrow. Dark nights of the soul still arise as affliction is purged. I'm a person with bountiful imperfections, and life is often difficult to navigate. Fleeting moments come to pass of which resting the smoking barrel of a fully loaded .357 Magnum over my tongue sounds better than dealing with my own bullshit. Only problem being, pulling that trigger would present a bang flag much funnier than a bullet. At times it's felt the way is lost as doubt bears heavily, but strife shan't deter stride. No path is too narrow and no road too dark, for the torch of faith remains lit. Once stripped of our resilient exterior, brave face, and confident demeanor, teachers come forth to present the beautiful vulnerabilities still residing at our core. In moments weak and powerless, we're given reminders of the immeasurable strength bound to the spirit of our being. As the life of a rose cycles to grow beyond the thorns, so must we all. When all is said and done, it will never have mattered who Celine and I were or may be to each other. Whether friends, siblings, star-crossed lovers, or two halves of an English muffin in a cosmic toaster, true love is an inseparable essence, and separation from those who've shared in it is mere illusion. Distance is a blessing which allows personal growth to exceed the limits of what's believed capable together, and developing love for oneself strengthens that which you're able to share. These golden opportunities we tend to perceive as disastrous accounts of what could have been are where the most awe-inspiring transformations begin towards what always was. The simplest of things are often felt impossible, and the closer they are in reach, the further they seem. But for those willing to undergo the grueling journey, we're found liberated to the extent of our own self-realizations. In accepting these truths, I no longer seek answers in the great beyond, having learned to appreciate the simple life I was given. I don't wish to stand as a victor who conquered, nor lay as the victim who suffered. I've ceased to run or chase, and have braved the delve inward, surrendering to what the world within me has always wished to share. There's no telling what new trials lay ahead, but the adventure will surely be cherished. I'm a man who's been questioned at every turn. called crazy, delusional, and obsessive. I've been ridiculed for my principles and told my life's being wasted away in fantasy. It had always been curious to hear such things without feeling disheartened. Then one day I realized that the only people who become defensive over their beliefs are those who don't actually fucking believe in them. Whether ill of mind or not, with humility I remain cemented in a creed to both live by and die for. Besides, it could be argued that if never having lost my mind, I wouldn't be nearly mindful enough to understand that there wasn't ever much to understand. Night has long since fallen over this desert. But where is the moon? A soft glow emanates below the nightingales, beckoning to surface. She's awfully late this evening, having made more than enough room for the stellar performance put on by the sun. A tough act to follow. Maybe she hasn't yet found the motivation to rise. Perhaps there's something to be done about it. After all, I've been said to be a grungy wizard of sorts, who specializes in lunar absurdities, amongst other psychotic things. A silly nudge of inspiration for a grand ascension just may do the trick. In a stumble, I made way down to the beach, along a stone-laid path to the altar, before stepping atop the podium. Feet together, shoulders level, my cane raised to the sky before dropping it to sing. And then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer, not a trace of doubt in my mind. I'm in love, ooh, I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried. I'm a conductor, the world, my orchestra, and our symphony plays to Her Majesty's rise, our most beautiful audience yet. The waves crash, crickets chirp, winds howl, leaves rustle, and monkey bellows. I've never laid ear to such flawless melody. This band really has their act together. In song and dance, she'd climb into the star-struck sky. I don't give a rat's ass what the critics have to say about the show. That moon's ferocious beauty rose to the love in my soul, and soon she'll set peacefully, having felt so. All comments or critiques may be left at the fucking Dropbox. Thank you kindly. This presents an opportune time to wander without direction into the far outskirts of darkness, accompanied by an irrational thinking cane and outspoken hat. There comes a point in every man's life, a crossroad of sorts, where a choice is made, to take that walk alone into the abyssal black of the desert night. One might call it a vision quest. Every person has their own, should they willingly find themselves before it and choose to embark upon it. Any depiction of what is witnessed, felt, heard, or understood on such a journey is entirely their own, so long as they're free to receive it and hold as their sacred rite of passage into the inner sanctum of one's being. I'm now in the hands of the desolate, in search of those generous reflections it offers. To the furthest reaches I traveled, until finding the very edge of ever after. Remind me once more, dearest, I whispered while raising my cane up to her grace. To no surprise, the moon responded with haste. In holding my gaze above, I watched as she morphed the clouds around her into a woman's face, precise and stunning, as if showing me herself in our form. Then, beneath each eye felt sharp cracks which splintered the sky. How hilariously peculiar it was. She'd become a jester. While one can bring about anything they wish in the formation of clouds, this phenomena was no mere stretch of the imagination. Heaps of jesters began to blend within each overcast silhouette, having flooded the sky like daisies in a field of dreams. Those big and slender, small and plump, of long face with weary eyes, tilted hats, stripes and bells. I'd go as far to say jesters with weird smells, but that could have just been me. I couldn't get a grip on that inexplicable sight, having dropped to the ground laughing in disbelief, rubbing my face with dirt to clear what surely must have been my eyes playing tricks on me. If entirely sober, what might explain this mystic abnormality's alteration to reality? It's one thing to feel the magic we create. The hardest thing of which to learn is that it's only as strong as we make it, while recognizing its presence in synchronistic occurrences. So then, perhaps this bewildering anomaly is what people refer to as seeing is believing. But I'd argue that there's no fathomable way to truly see without having already believed. In childhood, the jesters were brought life through threatening circumstances. By diving deep within my mind, solace was found in worlds of self-creation, having received guidance from those aspects who taught me how to shift perception. Yet when I found Celine and Thea, something unimaginable happened. That fearful boy was set free, and those boundless worlds of magic, possibility, and wonder beyond my wildest dreams tore through the fabrics of reality and flooded my world of the real. Now the jesters not only danced within me, but before me, in the reflections of those I cherished most. They'd both carve a new path while sculpting a future comprised of a love never believed possible. There was no longer a line which divided fantasy from reality, for they'd coalesce in abstract surrealism. Where I once had hands in separate worlds, I was finally found whole in one. This was the reminder of which the moon bestowed as my family was revealed high in the night sky, cackling at the ridiculousness below. And all I could do in those moments was simply laugh with them. To the past a pain was bound. On earth below a love was taught. Only now liberation's found. In stars above reminders brought. So, thrice more I twirled my cane, giggling amongst the all too sane, an astral dance over an infinite plain. The moon's light strikes this lake in a way which allows its capture, leaving bioluminescent waves crashing onto shore. As stars reflect, from below the depths rise emerald seas of eternity. To freeze this moment is to access the peculiar space between existence and non. Spirit speaks to propel time forward, yet I'm taken back. I can see the child who stands here now, he who grows humbler, ages wiser, withers simpler, and dies gentler, having become a relic to the very time who took him. Further he winds the dial, turning back each tick and passing talk. That second chance, this was its clock, now discovering a past painted in color, to have come at the hand of his own. He has achieved what was felt to be impossible, transmuting indescribable fear into insurmountable beauty, and incomprehensible pain into inconceivable love. He knows he arrived upon these shores never to depart. In standing before the pearly gates, he remains still, tethered in place. He's traversed the well-worn path and found the road, but it isn't one he'll walk alone. Patiently he now waits, as the ash upon their face, and shadow in their every step. Patiently he now waits, as the wind which blows their way, and sand upon which their feet shall fall. Patiently he now waits, for he now knows he shall find them home again. They say there are 3 types of people who choose to brave the barren desert's inner sanctum, our cosmic expanse of self. Prophets, prospectors, and madmen. Yes, entirely mad, batshit twisted, ludicrously insane men. But the omens will have always said otherwise. Fly, bird. Fly.